Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Learning with Lori. For the next couple of weeks, I think I'm going to speak to you about some clauses that are specifically in the agreement of purchase and sale. And right now, I'm going to deal with residential freehold homes. So, clauses that are in there that sometimes are difficult or not explained properly that you should be aware of. And the one that I'm going to talk to you about today is clause number 10, which is the title clause. And this is really important, especially to the buyer, because the buyer is entitled to free and clear title when they close on the property. This clause refers to, it's pretty long when you look at it. There's a lot of words in there and it gets a bit confusing because it deals with a lot of things in that one clause. Two topics that are included on there are title issues and non-title issues. And the title issues, what they are is like making sure that I'm going to read from this just so that I make sure that I get it right. Registered restrictions or covenants that run with the land, providing that they are complied with. And what this refers to is that, for example, if there is a property that has put up a fence and they weren't allowed to put up a fence, that the buyer doesn't have to deal with the fact that there's a fence there that shouldn't be there. That would have to be dealt with before closing. Uh, a buyer has to accept registered municipal agreements for utilities, providing they are complied with. Um, Minor easements for the supply of utility or telecommunication services to the property or adjacent properties, and easements for drainage, storage, sanitary sewers, public utilities, telecommunication lines, cable television lines, and other services which do not materially affect the use of the property. That do not materially affect is what is important. What people need to realize, though, is that a lot of our utilities are underground now. Years ago, they were above ground. We had all those lines running through the backyards. Well, now they're underground, so there needs to be some easements on our property to allow those to not be disturbed. So that's why that is there. And the buyer has to accept those titles. They can't decide that they don't want to do them. And I already said they must be minor in nature. That is something that they need to take care of. A non-title issue that you should be aware of is any outstanding work order or deficiency order. So if the seller has been told by the town or the city that they need to remove that fence that shouldn't have been there, it needs to be done ahead of time. Or if they have a bunch of garbage on the property, they need to make sure, and they've been told that it needs to be taken care of, they have to do that before closing. The lawful continuation of its present use. This is an important one and one that people need to really understand when they're buying a property. One of the most common things is basement apartments. People could be selling a property that currently has a basement apartment in it, and it may not be legal. And selling it as a basement apartment doesn't turn it into a legal basement apartment. And it means that the buyer has now inherited a property that has an illegal basement apartment. And if this is discovered, then the seller may have to take care of it. If it's discovered after closing, then it could be something that potentially a buyer could sue a seller over. Another one is people having in-home businesses. If someone buys a house, it would depend on the bylaws of an area that had a workshop in it, and in the garage, and people were repairing cars for their living there, and someone else purchased the property with the hopes of being able to do the same thing. The property is not zoned for that. It doesn't mean that the new buyer gets to take over that business and gets to do it. It has to be the legal zoning for the property. Um, One thing to take into consideration, there is a date in there, and typically it ends up the date that most realtors use, or a lot of realtors use, is 2 weeks before closing. This is referred to as the requisition date. And for the buyer's lawyer needs to look at all these issues, both title and non-title, and make sure that there's nothing in there that needs to be remedied, because all those things have to be done by the requisition date. If it's requested after that date, the seller may not be liable to take care of it. So that's a pretty important thing to understand. If you require any information you can use to make informed real estate decisions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. My name is Lori Roberts, and I am a full-time real estate broker in Durham region. Thanks so much and have a wonderful day.